Hey everyone, Christy here with part 2 of my altered canvas walkthrough. Now my background technique is done, I'll go through the steps I took to finish off this project. Starting from where I left off, working out embellishment placement, I'm now taking my base piece, which is a chipboard die cut with a Tim Holtz weathered clock die, and I'm covering this in gesso. At the same time, I covered 2 of the Prima wooden icons to prime them for inking. So here I'm working on my stamped images, which are pre-printed and stamped on the Tim Holtz watercolour distress cardstock and coloured with distress inks and markers. The first image is a magnolia stamp called Love Potion. However, I've masked out the potion so I can place a butterfly on her hand later on. So using the Kaisercraft clear stamps, I'm adding a background to these images. A quick tip for new stamps which aren't giving a clean line with distress is to prime these with StazOn or a similar permanent ink. As you can see, the difference between the 2 inks is quite noticeable. So here I've masked off my image with some scrap paper, and I'm selectively inking the stamp to get a distressed kind of background, and then using my blending tool I'm edging with the distress ink. So here I am adding the butterfly with a little bit of glossy accents, and I'm also adding some liquid pearls around the center and outsides just to give it a bit of more interest. Hopefully you can see a bit of the dimension. Now the same treatment is given to the white rabbit. This is a line art sourced from DeviantArt, but I've added crackle accents this time on his clock. While I had this out, I also added it all over my clock die cut and inked the wood icons with some aged mahogany distress ink. Taking my corner chipboard pieces and inking this up with distress embossing ink and covering with Ranger's Gold embossing powder, and then just heat setting. Attach these again with glossy accents. Here I'm adding more glossy accents just to adhere my clock down. And I've inked this with tea dye and vintage photo distress inks. So I've used dimensional tape to adhere the letters, but it wasn't a very pretty process, so moving on, I've die cut a key and lock from chipboard using the Tim Holtz Hardware Findings die, and here I'm just adding some dimensional paint to give it a more 3D look. black acrylic paint and some iridescent medium and painting an over the top for a grungy, pitted kind of look. And back to the glossy accents. I'm adhering the now dry prima pieces and choosing my flowers to surround the title. I've used a selection of flowers. Here I've got some Prima rosebuds and also some Kaisercraft mini blooms for this part of the image. I like adhering these down with wet glue, so I have a little bit more of playtime just to kind of get the look quite right. So now I'm making some blooms to go on the canvas. These are just hand-cut parchment paper and inked with distress inks, which you can see lined up at the back. I've used weathered wood, ice spruce, aged mahogany and bundled sage for these flowers. My next set of flowers I've made is using Coordinations cardstock, cut with a Tim Holtz tattered pinecone die. These make great distressed tea roses. To decorate my flowers, I've used some diamond dust and dry fine stickles and a wee bit of glimmer mist. All my elements, you can sit back and watch me struggle through placing all these down. You can see I've added some Prima resin clock pieces as well and given a few things a coating of metallic rub-on. with a bit of tea dye and vintage photo distress ink. Here we are, all finished. Stay tuned for some close-ups.